Hi, I'm Neil Zaza, and welcome to my DVD. I'm glad you joined me today. You know, there are about 1,000 or a million educational sources that are available in DVD form or in book form that talk about guitar playing and how you can improve your guitar playing. And I think as I went through them, you know, there's sweeping, picking, scales. There's a million different things that you can work on and have been done before. So the challenge for me was to come up with a concept for this DVD that I felt was very close and personal to my heart, but would also improve your playing and would be fun to work on. And what I realized is, for me and for most music, the number one thing is melody, and it's always about melody. If you realize when you hear a good song, you're drawn into the song because of the melody or because of the nice chords. A lot of times as guitar players, we become very obsessed with the amount of chops we have and how fast we play. And sometimes we overlook the most important thing that the listener wants to hear, and that is melody. So of course on this DVD we're going to go through all the chops I know and all my favorite arpeggios and exercises. But we're going to focus on melody and what makes melody. So I have some unique lead ideas I think is going to help you in your improvisation. We're going to go through some different chord forms and some things that will really lay the basis for actually playing melodically. So please sit back, relax, let's have a good time with it. I think you're going to find though that while melody is the most important thing, it's one of the most challenging things as well, because you have to absolutely have a control of the instrument and a mastery of the strings to really control the melody and lead it where you want to go. So I think we're going to have fun with this one. So I'd like to thank you again for joining me, and let's tune up here. Here's an E. I'd like to start out the DVD with this first lesson, which is talking about my philosophy about being a great guitar player versus being a great musician. Now, while there doesn't seem to be a great difference between the two, there's miles apart between the two. To be a great guitar player, you practice, you have some great chops, you have some great technical ability, you can shred with the best of them. That makes you a great guitar player because you have the facility to actually execute anything on the guitar. Now, being a great musician is quite different. What that entails is it entails taking all of your knowledge on the guitar and actually translating it in a very musical way. That is where the difficulty comes in sometimes, and I know that I fought this same battle long ago, and I fight it to this day, where a lot of times we want to rely on technique to get across the music, when sometimes we want to relax, let the music flow through us, play more from the heart, and let the technique bring the melody out. So a good example of this is an auctioneer that you would find at an auction anywhere, speaks a million miles a minute trying to get one thing done, which is selling whatever he's auctioning off. But if he spoke like that in everyday life when he's ordering at McDonald's or speaking to his kids or his wife, there would be a strange thing because it would be inappropriate for what he's doing in that situation. So the analogy is this, is you should have all the chops that you need. You should be able to play anything at any given time, but you should always realize the concept and the construct that you're working on within a song. So just because you can play a million notes a minute, that doesn't mean that you should play a million notes a minute. And just because you play one note a minute, the song may call for 1,000 notes a minute. So what I want to stress is that we want to take technique out of music. We want to think about music as a whole and a concept, and we'll leave the practicing and the chops for the practice room. But when we perform or compose, we think more musically, more like a musician rather than just like a guitar player. So with that, let's get started. I'd like to talk about the guitar I've been playing. This is the Neil Zaza signature model from Cort, and this is brand new out in the market right now, and I'm really proud of this guitar. When they approached me to do this guitar, I really, my big thing was I wanted to be top quality, the best it could be. I wanted the finest ingredients, and I wanted to feel that this guitar really was about what I wanted in a guitar, and this is exactly what happened on this guitar. Let me go through some of the components in it. The body is American basswood with a 20mm maple top on it. We have 2 Seymour Duncan pickups. We have a custom, and we have a 59 Tone Pro bridge with strings through the body. I think strings through the body really make it resonate better. There's a greater sustain in the guitar when the strings go through the body. 1 volume knob, no tone. Then we also have a coil tap. So down is humbucker, up is single coil, 3-way switch. The neck, you can adjust it with anything that you can get in there, so it's very convenient to adjust. We have an ebony fingerboard with a 3-piece maple neck. The big NZ logo right there, which I like. That's turquoise and pearl. Bone nut, ebony on top here, signature, and we have Spurzl locking tuners on this one. So I'm just very, very happy about this guitar. It sounds fantastic. We took the better part of a year to design it, and everything is as I wanted. It's balanced, very nice. It's very light. As I play, everything is right where it needs to be. So when you play, it's right within pinky reach right there. Volume. This is out of the way, so I don't accidentally hit it, but I can get to it real fast. This is great. I also have a version of this that they've made for me that actually has a MIDI system in it. So this is exactly as my other guitar you just saw, but this side is a 13-pin MIDI system. It's a Ghost MIDI system in it. Has the 13-pin right there. So now when I compose and when I'm doing my next records, I can play all the MIDI stuff, all the keyboards and all the synths and loops and everything. So this guitar is exactly the same as that other one, except it has this system in it. So that's the only difference in this. And that is the Cort Neil Zaza signature guitar. I always get questions about exactly what gear I'm using to get what sound. So I thought this might be a good time to go through it, and let's take a look what I'm using here. Let's look at the pedal board first, if we could. What you're seeing actually is sort of a half pedal board in that I'm filming this in Beijing, China, after an Asian tour. But as it turns out, my power section for the pedal board should go right here. But as luck would have it, that was 110 voltage, and it got torched by some 240 voltage as I was on tour. So I'm running on batteries, and some of the pedals are not here, but this is basically the essentials of what I use. So what we have, I'm running the guitar into, this is the most important pedal I use. This is called the tuner. So I use that more than any other pedal because I sure like to play in tune. So that goes into a Vox reissue wah. It's been modified by a guy in Cleveland, Ohio in the United States named Bill Kale, and he put a true bypass circuitry in it, so when it's not being used, it's out of the system, so it doesn't add any other noise or anything like that. From there, I'm going into an MXR Phase 90. So this is for that vintage Van Halen sound. I always use it at the 9 o'clock because Eddie did. So that's what I use on that. Then I'm going from there into a Keeley compressor, and that's really a great part of my tone. This is made by Robert Keeley in the United States. He makes all kind of custom handmade top-notch pedals, and I have a few pedals by him on this board, as you'll see. It gives me just a little added definition. Very subtle effect. And you can really hear the difference with the Keeley compressor when I'm on clean. So from here, I go into what looks like an Ibanez Tube Screamer, a TS9, but it actually is a Keeley modded Ibanez Tube Screamer. And that will be, that is actually a prototype for, it's going to be a Neil Zaza signature pedal we're working on right now. So this is actually the prototype with some switches to adjust different frequencies and reactions and stuff. But once Robert sent this to me, there's no way he's getting it back until we do a new one. So I think it's a fantastic pedal. It adds just some more overdrive for me. Really not overdrive, but sustain. See, it's really for sustain. So that's the Keeley Neil Zaza prototype. From there, I go into something actually really cool, and I've been looking for a pedal like this for years. And of course, Robert Keeley just made it. He has a limited line of these. This is called a Nova Wah. And being a big Michael Schenker fan, I always liked when he would get that half open wah. Or you can do like a Brian May. Okay, but the problem with this is you can't always set it because you step on it and you never know what you're going to get. So what this Nova Wah is this pot for this is this. So if you turn it on, this is channel 1, the green, and this is channel 2. It's a 2-channel fixed wah pedal. So for instance, channel 1. Channel 2. And that's what that is. So this is channel 1, channel 2, and this is a volume for it. Also, you can run it. You could have one wah on, A or B, or if you flip it this way, you could have both wahs on at the same time. So it's a great pedal, gets a real nice vocal quality to it. All right, from there, I'm going into a Hughes and Kettner tube bin, which I just found on this tour, which I really love a lot. 3 channels, so obviously you've been hearing the overdrive. Clean is beautiful. Crunch is beautiful. and overdrive. That's a tube in, and it goes out into a DD5 delay, obviously. And that's the pedal board. I like to talk about chords, and while this doesn't seem like the most exciting subject to most guitar players, it is actually probably the most important subject that we'll ever talk about. Chords are the building blocks of every song, and while most of us obsess about chops and technique, without good chords behind us, we're not set up to play anything. So if you have boring chords behind you, you really limit the sonic possibilities that you can do solo-wise. There's not a lot of options if it's just some boring chords. But if you bring in some very nice open chords, something that really kinds of lends itself to more lead playing, some more melody, you can really set yourself up to really dig in and get a soulful performance in. So let me go through some of my favorite chords. Now I've used these chords composing in my songs. I've used these chords throughout years, so you're almost getting a Neil's favorite chord encyclopedia here right now. So let me start out by probably the most used chord that I use is it's called an add 9 chord. And an add 9 chord is you'll add the 9th note in the scale to the chord, and that gives it a nice open sound. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. All right, first chord, instead of a normal A chord, add that 9. See how it gives that nice open sound? Okay, now you can use that same thing in a bar situation, something like this. Very nice. It kind of lends itself to really kind of digging in and finding a nice melody. Also, there's a few other versions of this. If you're in D, for instance, you have this add 9 chord, but also you could take a normal D chord and you can add this. So we'll go through all the different progressions you can do with it later. Also, one of my favorite add 9 chords, it adds a lot of spice to a regular G chord. So instead of doing something like, now I always play my G with this D, I like the sound of that, is you add that 9, which in this case would be an A, and all of a sudden it adds like a darker element to it. So if you had, so I like that one a lot. All right, the next chord I want to talk about is another very important chord in how I compose, and you hear it in all my songs all the time. It's called the first inversion chord. And what a first inversion is in a chord is it's the lowest note in the chord. So in a D chord, for instance, you have D, F sharp, and A. So if a chord has the 1, which would be a D, in the bass, then that's root position. Now the most common form, I think, of first inversion that everyone may know is the D first inversion, which is you swing that thumb over, and you have the F sharp in the bass. So it's the lowest note of the chord, and it's the third. So that makes it a first inversion. There's that add 9 I just talked about. All right, so that's a favorite of mine. Also, a chord that you may have played already, which is a first inversion, is a G first inversion. So a lot of times, instead of the normal G, use that B in the bass, and that works real nice. So in a progression, maybe you might go. D first inversion. So you see we have a few first inversions in it, and it really opens it up nice. Also, a 6-string root version, meaning the root is on the 6th string. One of my favorite ones is this. So you have, if we took an E chord, you have E, E triad, E power chord, which is just E, B, and E. Add that G sharp to it, because an E chord is an E, G sharp, and a B, right here. That's E first inversion. So how I always view it is on this first inversion chord, your root is your first finger. So if I wanted to do an A first inversion, find the A, which is right there. Also, there's a 5th string root first inversion that I use all the time, and that is this. And let me show you how it's constructed. Let's say we were going to do an A first inversion on a 5th string root, meaning the root is on the 5th string. There's an A chord. You have your triad right here, A, C sharp, and E. But we want that C sharp in the bass. So what we do is we refinger it and add that C sharp right there. And you can already hear, just by changing the basses, it makes it a lot more complex, a lot more interesting, and it really adds a lot of depth to the music. Already you can hear what you might want to play over that. So those are the first inversions that I really, really use all the time. All right, now taking the two versions of chords that we talked about, the add 9 and the first inversion, now if you combine those two chords, then you really have something cool here. So we had this first inversion right here, which would be A first inversion in this case. It's an A chord with a C sharp bass. Now add the 9, which would be a B, and you have probably the favorite chord that I like. That's a great one. That you can voice anything in there. All right, another very easy first inversion add 9 chord is a D chord with that F sharp, and you add that high E. Okay. Now, weird fingering for an A first inversion, and this would work for anything, is so what you're looking at is you have the A triad here, A, E, A, with a C sharp. Now, it might seem like a real handful, but the voicing is very different then. It just has that high A, which is nice. There. Again, landing on a nice open add 9 chord. And this is one that I really like. It's F first inversion, which an F chord is an F, A, and a C, all right? But we add that open G, and it's an add 9. And that lends itself to all kind of possibilities. As you can see when I'm playing, first inversion, add 9, that's a minor 7, and add 9. So it really opens up the whole progression really nicely. I can't stop myself when I hear those chords. I love them. All right, another form of chord that I use a lot, and I find it's very useful. Again, I guess I keep referring to everything opening up and being a wider tonal palette to choose from. For me, instead of hearing this, I'd rather hear this. Now, talking about these first inversion chords, they not only sound good, but they have some great uses as well. And as a compositional tool, there's no better chord than a first inversion chord. The first thing it can do is it can get you anywhere you want to go very simply, and it can connect different chords that may not sound like they need to be connected, or chords that you already have in a song. So let me give you an example. Say we had a progression starting in B minor. Heard that progression a million times, but to spice it up a little bit and to kind of bend the ear a little bit, a first inversion chord, the third of the chord, which would be in this particular form, the second finger, you could go down chromatically, filling in the blanks between chords. So for instance, or take, for example, a progression in A minor, something like, let's throw a first inversion in between the F and the G. So you got. So it works very nice as a connector chord. On a melodica, I have a song called Rena, and the progression sounds something like this. So first inversion chord made all the difference in the world on that. So you can also use a first inversion chord as a modulating tool to get where you need to go. So let's say we were in A minor. And I want to go, say, to E major. What you'll do is you'll play that first inversion chord a half step below where you want to go, and it'll take you there. So for instance, let's choose another key. Let's go, why don't we go F major from that. So you got it'll modulate you anywhere you want to go. The solo on that song called Rena off a melodica, it uses first inversion to really kind of bend the ear a little bit and move around in some different keys and keep things really moving. And it sounds something like this. And the chords on that will be E minor, F sharp, first inversion. So that's a little ear bender there. Then a B minor, B minor with an A, G, D first inversion just to keep it moving down as a passing tone. Now here's the big ear bender, C sharp, first inversion. And cap it off with an F sharp sus4. So at first when you hear but if you see, remember what I just said, a half step down will modulate you anywhere. So this is a half step down from that B. Sharp, another ear bender, but again, a half step down from where we're going, which is F sharp. So first inversion chords are very nice in that they could get you anywhere you want to go. They sound fantastic, and they add a real interest to it. In fact, take a progression like Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight. So you have, without the first inversion chord, now with a D first inversion, with that F sharp, it adds a whole different tone to it. So again, we're adding